Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Wolfman Garden channel, and I'd like to thank you for coming in and having a cup of coffee with me this morning. Well, we talk about our cucumbers. Now, cucumbers are part of the cucurbit family, and the cucurbit is part of the gourd family. So, therefore, your cucurbit, which are your cucumbers, your squash, your butternut squash, your zucchini, your pumpkins, and melons, which are watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydews. There's probably 100 more that I can't even think of off the top of my head right now. But these are all part of the cucurbit family. Now, different than the nightshade family, which the nightshade family are your tomato plants and pepper plants, stuff like that. You would think with these all being the same summer crop that you should plant and seed them all at the same time. Well, the cucurbit family, they do not like cold temperatures at all. You know, we're talking when temperatures are below 50 degrees, the cucurbit family, they do not like that cold weather. They are a fair weather plant, which, like me, I'm a fair weather person. They want their nights to be in the 60s, and they want their days to be in the 80s. So, I mean, how many of us are that way? I am. I'll admit, I am a fair weather. I would love it if I lived in a place that was 60 for lows and 80 for days. And if you find that place, leave a comment down below and let me know where that is, and we'll all move there together, and we'll have one heck of a garden. Anyway, nightshades, like your tomatoes and peppers, they can tolerate temperatures that dip down, you know, in the spring when they dip down in, say, 38, 42 degrees, as long as it doesn't frost, and as long as the daytime temperature reaches back up into the 50s or upper 50s and lower 60s. They do fine. Now, the cucurbit family, which are your cucumbers and melons, they do not like that anything below 50 degrees. You could stunt their growth. They could be slow. Some of them can die out. They just really do not like cooler temperatures. Let's kind of go over what we're talking about, the difference between your nightshades and your cucurbit family. Now, your cucurbit family, like I said before, they don't like nighttime temperatures below 50 degrees. And the reason why you don't plant your tomatoes and peppers at the same time that you would plant your squash, melons, and stuff like that is because from the time you put the seed of a tomato or pepper, from the time that seed through germination, through growth, till you get the first tomato is about 120 days. And the transplant time from the time you put your tomato seeds in until you transplant them out into the garden is roughly 8 weeks. So that's almost 2 months of growing inside before you actually transplant them out. Now, your cucurbit family, because they're such a warm crop and they love such warm temperatures, they're germinated from the time you put the seed and through germination, through growth, until you get your first fruit is only between 60 and 70 days. That's almost half the amount of time that it takes from your cucurbit family versus your nightshades. So that's why you want to wait and you want to start your cucumbers or your cucurbit family you want to start the seeds about a week before your last expected frost date. One other thing that I want to mention about cucumbers is there's a lot of discrepancy on whether or not you should thin out your cucumbers. If you plant 2 or 3 cells or 2 or 3 seeds per cell, and whether or not you should cut them out, thin them out that way, or whether or not you can separate the roots. Like I said before, not everything that I do is the same that everybody else does. I'm not saying there's only one way to do this. I'm just going to tell you the way I do it and the way I've had success doing it. So there's multiple ways to transplant and to plant and to seed and to do all this stuff with your tomatoes, your peppers, cucumbers, everything. But I'm just explaining the way I do it and the way I've had success. When I first started, I'm not gonna lie, I could get any seeds to grow. I would plant tomato seeds and pepper seeds, and I would struggle, and I tried and tried and tried to get these things to germinate and do all this. But it's over years of experience that I've learned how to seed and transplant all this. That's why I'm making these videos, is to try to help somebody that's also struggling and to give them hope. It's like, hey, this sometimes it can be tough when you're starting out and learning, and not everything works out the way you want it to. The reason I've had success is a lot of trial and a lot of error. A lot of error. So, with that being said, let's jump into the seed start. All right, so we're going to seed our cucumbers today. We've got our seed starting room mix. Remember, this is different than what we transplant things in. This is the stuff that's mostly peat moss, vermiculite, and perlite. So, and like, you know, we've got it moistened to where we can form a ball, but it's not draining water out. So that's, all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill up our seed trays, get them ready. Remember, when we fill our seed trays up, we always put them, if we're gonna bury them 1/4 inch deep, 1/8 inch deep, or whatever, that's how far that we put our seed soil in, and we're gonna pack it down enough to where it's 1/4 inch above or below this top. And then once we get our seeds in there, we'll cover the top and water them down. And usually this stuff is fluffy enough. If you just go over the top with it, make it look like it's completely full, it'll pack down probably about 1/4 inch. So make it simple enough. We're not going to get real rambunctious with it, but it makes it a lot easier doing it this way. All right, we got 50 seeds supposedly in this. We got 40 cells. So in this one here, we're just gonna go ahead to save from having to separate them later. And we've got plenty of trays left. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna plant 50 of these seeds, and we're just gonna plant 1 per cell. And if one doesn't germinate or one doesn't come up, then we just won't have that cell. So these seeds here, one thing I like about the MI Gardener is it's got that little green sticky stuff. That way you can take, and it'll reseal itself 2 or 3 different times. It's not going to be as good the second time around, but still, it'll keep them from being, that's our seeds here. So, like I said, we're just going to do 1 per cell, just in the center of each cell. Now, if these were like if these were big box store seeds, I might try to put 2 in each one and then cull out if 2 of them grow, then I could have cut 1 of them back out. But with MI Gardener, the seeds you get from him, they're usually pretty good. And like I said, we're supposed to have about 50 seeds. And there's what, 5 times 3, 6, 8. There's 40 cells. And there we go. That's 40. And if you'll notice, we still got some decent seeds left in there. So we'll save these just in case we want to try to plant some more later on. All right, we got our seeds in, and all we're gonna do now is the same thing we've been doing on all of our seeds, is we're just gonna And once again, probably wouldn't hurt to sift your seeds or sift your seed mix. But like I said, it usually don't get a whole lot of big stuff in them, so it's not really that important. But you can, if you don't want to mess with having these bigger seeds or these bigger chunks in there every now and then. It can be annoying. It can disturb your seed. Could, like that one, when you go to move it out or something, it could flip the seed out. Cause it not to get good germination. Who knows? Could drive it down further. And that's one seed tray. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that we need to mark these and each one of these trays and get them marked where you don't get them confused. Since this whole tray is one variety, what we'll do is we'll just put one tag and we'll put it inside of here. That way we don't have to worry about losing track of what we're growing here. All right, once we got that, you know the drill. Whew. Like I said, probably gonna have to add some water to this thing. Yep, we'll add some water to it and finish water, and that's all there is to it. We'll get this and put it under the grow lights and be ready to go, and we'll start our second tray. All right, here we go. This is exactly 1 week later, and you'll notice that all of our, about 90% of our cucumbers have already germinated. We got a few that are just now popping up. We got a few that are trying. We got one that's barely pushing through, but for the most part, we're gonna have a high success rate of germination. So we'll do another video once we're ready to transplant these into a bigger pot. And until then, like, comment, share this video. Like I said, it helps me reach a broader audience. And leave your comments in the bottom. I love listening to and talking with y'all on your comments, and it really helps me out. So, like always, keep it growing.